everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Divinely Empowered Media Show. And I'm your host, Anastasia Hay. And I have with me my beautiful, creative, fashionable guest, once again, Beth.
Hi, everybody. I'm Beth from Beth Smith Couture. I make custom clothes for women, not men so much.
Are you going to be doing men soon?
Well, I do have a new project for a man, and it's kind of exciting, but I don't want to talk too much about it. But
all right, that's okay. Well, I'm glad you're here again, Beth. So today we're going to be talking about how to embrace yourself and how to remain authentic and confident in who you are in both business and life. I feel like, you know, when you're starting off in business, or maybe you're currently working your 9 to 5 and you want to start your own business or take your side hustle to the next level, it's so easy to get caught up with the noises out there. You know, with me, in the past, it was my family. You know, my family, they were expecting me to do something very lavish, fashion, personal styling. They didn't see how that could make a whole lot of money. But they were limited in their mindset because they weren't educated about the fashion industry and what goes into it. And that the very same Gucci's and the Pradas and the things that they're purchasing is coming from creatives like myself. But we want to talk to you about this because I think it's important. Beth has her story of how she started her business. And so we hope that today's episode will be a blessing to you and you'll feel inspired, you'll feel encouraged not to lose yourself, that no matter where God takes you in life, because a lot of times when people get to the top, oftentimes they miss out on their mission or they lose, they forget where they were coming from. They forget why, like, I'm here. Now that I'm here, they forget why they're there. And they end up like not doing the things that God has blessed them to be there to do, you know? I use a lot of Christian celebrities. You know, I love them. I pray for them. God has revealed some of them to me, and I pray for them. But, you know, they're out there in the world with their wealth. And instead of changing the world or making a difference in the lives of people, creating different organizations, they're backsliding. They're not serving God the way they're supposed to. They're trying to compete with the Hollywood stars. And it's crazy. But I definitely want to hear your perspective on this, Beth. And
so I was thinking about this, actually talking to my mom about this yesterday. Mm-hmm. I want to make this clear and not ramble too much.
That's fine. That's fine.
So you can see what I'm wearing today. It's a lot of prints.
Love it.
It's a lot of prints.
It's beautiful.
And I didn't used to dress this way. I was always worried about what other people would think, what other people were saying. I didn't dress the way my inside is, mm-hmm. what made me feel happy. I was always trying to fit in somewhere. I was always trying to be attractive to the people outside instead of, when I look in the mirror, what brings me joy, what makes me feel happy. Mm-hmm. And so that's why I wore this outfit today, because this is like, now if it had more color, that would be really me, but mm-hmm. I didn't have the extra color that I wanted with me. But I remember when I was in middle school, that's when I kind of lost myself. Maybe I think a lot of people lose themselves in middle school because other girls can be kind of mean.
Oh, yeah.
We didn't have a lot of money when I was growing up. I wore a lot of hand-me-downs. Mm-hmm. And so the pretty popular girls mm-hmm. would make fun of my clothes because I had like all cut off jeans because I was a short girl. My mom would just cut them off and they made fun of me. And so when I got to high school and I got a job, when I would buy clothes, I would think about what did other people want from me. Mm-hmm. And that carried in, I just had my 60th birthday and I realized just last year how I'm still doing that. Even in my business, I have been doing that, trying to please outside people. Mm-hmm. So I've lost my authentic self back when I was like, 14 years old. Mm-hmm. And now it's kind of awesome because the things I make mm-hmm. and the way I present myself to the world is more me, more pleasing to me, and also pleasing to God. I can feel that he's happy with where I am right now. And that's attracting the people that I want to work with. Those people are now coming to me, and I feel like before, when I was trying to please all those people, that I was sort of begging for the business, and now the business is coming to me naturally. So I feel like that authenticity is super important, like being who God wants you to be and what makes you feel joyful inside, and not worrying about what other people have to say.
You know, I think I love that you mentioned that, you know, it's about, because God tests you during the beginning stage of your business. And I see him doing that with me, because I've always been the girl to dress up. Like, I would stick out like a sore thumb, but, you know, throughout my life, you know, I've always loved fashion. I shared this with you countless times. I've always loved fashion. Everybody else in the classroom is wearing sneakers and a hoodie, and they're like, here, we're at school. And I'm like, okay, this is my time to shine. And I'm just in my own bubble. But when it comes on to being authentic, what I want you guys to know is that a lot of times you may not be accepted. You may find yourself feeling alone at times, you know, but God is, and I always say this to myself, and I just feel like it's the Holy Spirit rested upon my heart too, that God is preparing your tribe. And he's preparing you for that tribe, those specific individuals that he's called you to serve with your business, and those people that are like, they will open their heart to receive it. And so the fact that you're telling me you're now attracting those people that you were supposed to serve, rather than you're begging people, oh, see me, yeah. Look at me. You know what I mean? And let me tell you something. When you're showing up authentically in your business, it can be challenging at first, because people are so into trends. I did my video with the wide leg jeans, okay? And I got a lot of views. Great. But I'm showing up as pencil skirt and dress girl. But God showed me in a vision. He's like, listen, I want you to remain true to yourself. And so he showed me this vision that I was at a clothing store, and I was asking the person that works there if they have any skirts. And so the lady's looking through, and she's like, sorry, we don't have any skirts right now. Or we don't have any skirts. That's what she said. We don't have any skirts, I remember. And then after that, there was another woman that was basically listening to the advice I was sharing with her. I was like, oh, you know, you can wear this dress with some sneakers and a denim jacket. And she's like, really? And so when I woke up from my sleep, there was a message in that the Lord was bringing to my attention. He's like, in the world, there may not be, people may not like gravitate to the things that you're geared towards, but that's what makes you you. And you will be influential. People will listen to what you have to say, because you can be relatable and show them that, hey, you can still dress modestly and carry yourself with dignity and also be fashion forward. And so that was a reminder to me. And so I'm doing these videos, and I'm like, you know what? I'm going to stick to what I do, because the women that I'm catering to are high-class women, because I'm a high-class woman. You see what I'm saying? I'm not trying to help women who want to dress like sluts. That's not my goal. If you want to dress like sluts, then get off my page. But if you're looking to carry yourself with integrity and dignity, and you're trying to look like someone that can be taken seriously, be respected, and want to attract, some of these women, they wonder why they attract idiots. You see what I'm saying? They attract stupid men because you look stupid. You see what I'm saying? And it's the straight up truth, right? And it's like, you can't expect a quality man to see you and respect you if you're carrying yourself like a complete fool or like a prostitute. They're going to only see you for one thing, but they're not going to see you as a wife. And it's just straight. And the same for these men. They want quality, high-class women, but they look like bums on the streets. Like, can you go wash your face? Can you go shave your beard? Can you go put on some clean dress shoes and take off those sloppy, dirty sneakers, you know? But anyways... So I've learned that and I'm grateful that God is bringing that to my attention now, because for a long time that always have been a fight for me in school. Oh, Anastasia, I don't know how you wear those heels. Your feet don't hurt. Oh my gosh, I used to go home pissed off. I was like, these people are getting on my last nerves. Like, I'm so sorry you had such a terrible experience when you wore your heels, but my feet are not hurting me, or so I would have just worn flats. And so you notice you're going to come across people because you're different, you're unique. They're going to try to manipulate you, and because they can't walk in heels, they fall when they wear heels. They can't rock a certain look. And so because they can't rock a certain look, rather than coming to you and say, hey, could you help me? Sure. No, they come and criticize you. Oh, you're always wearing skirts and dresses. Where are you going? You ever experienced that?
I was afraid that I would experience that. But let me tell you, when things started to change for me, it actually hasn't been very long. I'm a big Disney fan. Mm-hmm. You know that. Mm-hmm. When I go to Disney World, I make outfits that are just for Disney World, and I stand out.
Yeah.
Like, people, I don't really notice that people are looking at me. My husband notices that people are looking at me and taking, like, sneaky pictures. Mm-hmm. But I never feel like they're looking at me, like, to make fun of me. I feel like they like this and they wish that they were there dressed like that. And it started to dawn on me that when I'm wearing what I want to wear at Disney World, I'm like feeling happy. Mm-hmm. I feel amazing. That's what Disney World does for me. And it's not just the Disney bubble. Mm-hmm. It's how I'm dressed the way I want to be dressed. And so now I'm extending that into the rest of my life and wearing prints, lots of olive prints.
Yeah, well, that's good. But what I want to ask you, because this is another perspective, because a lot of times I've heard this growing up as well. And when women hear this, like, you have some stylists, I'm like the complete opposite, but you have some stylists say, listen here, just wear what you feel good in. And if you feel confident, you feel beautiful in it, then wear that. And so these women, and I'm you know me, I'm very blunt.
A little, yeah.
Yeah, transparent. I try my best to be as kind with my words. But these women, when they hear that, they go into a place like, okay, because they're used to wearing their shorties and their crop tops, and I've witnessed this countless time, and they'll show up on Instagram, post it, I'm wearing what makes me feel good. Okay, that's great. But when it comes on to being a business owner, being an entrepreneur, being someone that wants to set an example for little girls that are coming up in this generation, yeah, you're wearing what makes you feel good, but there's a difference between wearing what makes you feel good and wearing things that also says good things about you. And with you, Beth, yes, your style is fun, it's vibrant, but it still sends out a positive message. It expresses great things about you. It says that, hey, I'm a vibrant, bubbly person. There's never a dull moment with me. You see what I'm saying? When you come in my presence, we're going to have a good time. But for some women, and I feel like it's just ignorance, they just lack education in regards to that. They wear those things that they feel like makes them feel good and takes their confidence to the next level. And I've seen this all over, and even with Hollywood. There's this celebrity that likes to show her back. You see what I'm saying? She's like, for all you curvy women, this is your time to wear the same thing and it's like, what message are you trying to signal? When all is said and done, women are women. No matter what our shape or size is, we should wear clothes that sends a positive message. You see what I'm saying? So I feel like sometimes that can be misconstrued. What's your perspective on that?
I think that you need to think about where you're going.
Yes.
I think there's a time, not for me, but for some people, when they go to the club, maybe you want to wear something that's a little more sexy. But when you're going to work, you probably don't want your skirt to be super tight or super short because you want people to look at you as a professional person. And so that's another thing I think that we have lost is dressing for different occasions.
Dressing for the occasions.
Dressing for the occasion. I think that the club is a place, if you want to wear the super short, tight skirt, that's awesome. I'm happy. But in the office or in a professional setting, probably not the best idea.
Yeah. So in this modern world, this modern society that we're in now these days, women of today don't dress for specific occasions. They wear what they wear to the club, to the office, to the grocery store, to everywhere.
That's true.
And back in the days, when you look at these classy women who a majority of the time they were married and they kept their marriages. They had beautiful children and they knew how to maintain their integrity. They knew how to walk with poise. These women had specific outfits for specific occasions. So recently I was looking at this old video of women, how they dressed when they were working out. These women were dolled up. They had lipstick on, their hair was pinned up, and they had leggings under their, what do you call it, over there? What's that thing called? Their one piece. And they had the long socks and the sneakers, and they were working out. And I'm like, wow. And then after workout, they had a pencil dress. And I mean, like, oh my gosh, when I say beautiful, that's like literally all I could say. But the women of today, they wear pajamas to the store. They wear pajamas to work because now CEOs are saying, can kind of relax a little bit, Pandemic is over. You guys were wearing, your pajamas. Come on back to the office with the jeans and T-shirt. I was recently on this virtual event, Beth, and this gentleman was he was so unsure on how to dress moving forward because I told him what I do, and he's like, Anastasia, I'm really curious. Like, I need to ask your expert advice. He's like, for men who are going back into the office with other men that are now like the environment is more casual. The other men are dressed in like jeans and very casual. What about those men who are used to wearing their suits? Like, would you advise them to keep wearing their suits or kind of tone it down? I'm like, oh no, keep the suit on. I said, I'm all about helping people stand out from the crowd. Don't lower your standards to fit in with the crowd. And I think this is where authenticity is because times are changing. People are in this place, people who are used to dressing up and looking sharp. They're now like compromising their authenticity. They're like, I don't know. Billy Bob and Christina over there, they're wearing pajamas and wearing leggings. He's wearing jeans. I don't want to stand out. And I think this is where confidence is so important. Would you agree?
Confidence is super important. Mm-hmm. And your clothes can help you with that because if you're not feeling it inside, you can dress on the outside as if you're feeling confident. And I feel like I wish I had listened more closely to God years ago. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? I feel like I would have been further along if I would have been listening more closely. I spent a lot of time, this might be getting off the topic, but I spent a lot of time thinking, I pray and God doesn't talk to me. Mm-hmm. And I have realized in the last couple of years that he actually is talking to me and I'm not listening. I wasn't listening. There are things that God's been telling me for a long time and I wasn't hearing it because I was too much in a hurry to get off my knees and get doing my doing instead of listening to what the answer was, staying down on my knees for a while and just being quiet to hear what the answer was. Wow. And so I feel like if I had started listening a long time ago, I would have been much further along than I am now. So I do feel like authenticity, all that authenticity that's built into you, all that personality, God put it there. Absolutely. And he's going to help you learn how to use that to make you the person that he wants you to be. Exactly. And if you start listening, then you're not going to have to worry about what anybody else around you is doing.
When do you feel like your confidence skyrocketed? Because, you said you went through your phase in middle school. I went through my phase all my life. Yeah. So I kind of was on the journey, honestly, I didn't even realize that God even had a plan for me. And, I gave my life to him as a teenager at 19 and I dropped all my friends, went off to college. I said, you guys, you're not going where I'm going. And I had to endure a lot of isolation, loneliness. And so I would say mine was pretty much all my life. And my confidence was developed by myself with God. you know, he's like,
Yeah.
people are not going to like you. So with me, I feel like with me, there's no in between. I was recently listening to Jordan Peterson. I love him. He's a motivational speaker. And he's also a psychologist, and he talks about how the mind works. And he's like, when you are favored by God, there is no in between. People either love you or they hate you. And if there's a middle ground, I'm allergic to fake. So if there's a middle ground, you can't be fake with me. Either you just hate me and stay far away from me. If you love me, embrace me. But if you're going to be in between, I will sense you and I will spit you out, you know? So like, when did your confidence level take to the next level? What do you feel?
Well, I got a business coach 2 years ago. Mm-hmm. And when I hired her to work with me, and I still work with the same business coach, mm-hmm. When I hired her to work with me, I could not say that I was an expert at anything. I would not say it. I felt uncomfortable saying that I was good at anything.
Yeah.
I couldn't say that I loved my clothes. I couldn't say that I was an expert at sewing. Mm-hmm. And so finding Erica to work with, I do feel like God put us together.
Yeah. Because
she has really pushed me a lot, and she's a lot like you. She doesn't beat around the bush. She tells me like it is. And now I can confidently say that I am an expert in my field.
Wow.
And I can confidently say that I am God's favorite. You're his favorite too. But I can confidently say that I know that I have a purpose and I'm on that path.
Amen.
And 2 years ago, I couldn't say any of that stuff. And so isn't it funny? I was 58 years old before I started to be able to know who I really was. So I just want to say it's not too late for anybody.
Oh, yeah.
Just keep going and pray and be in the scriptures, because God's going to teach you things.
Yeah. I love what Beth says, make sure you're praying. She said if she could turn back the clock, she wished she would have just listened to God. So wherever you are in your journey as an entrepreneur, as a kingdom business owner, don't beat up yourself. It's not too late. Don't think that, I'm 70 or I'm 60 or I'm just 17 years old. God doesn't see age. I was 19. I was 19 when I started my journey, and it was not easy. A lot of tears, but I'm grateful that I started, because the path that I was going towards, it was only going to lead to destruction. So wherever you are, as you're listening to this message, start now. Go through the process, because it's only going to make you better.
Yeah. And if you don't feel like you could do it on your own, get a coach.
Get a coach. Yeah, definitely. I had a coach around 2017. When I started my business in college, I graduated and I took the initiatives, took a leap of faith and started working on it. But then eventually God connected me with this woman of God, and she was entrepreneur, pastor, all of that good stuff. And she took me under her wings for a season. But after a while, I had to let her go. Because she was trying to rush a process that God is in control of. And she's like, I just love hearing people's success stories. When I heard that, I said, yep, this is my time to go on my own. because I'm like, I can't force God's hand to move. If he doesn't want the business to prosper now, it's never going to prosper. You can give me all the tips and advice all day, every day, and I can apply it and sweat and fall on the ground. But if God said it's not time yet, there is nothing you can do. So you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to say bye-bye. I love you. Blow kisses. But I'm going to say deuces, because this is too much pressure. I got 1 hour sleep. 1 hour of sleep, because I'm working on my website. Because I'm determined that my website is going to be perfect.
Time to move on.
Oh my gosh. That was so sad. Like, when I look back and see all the sacrifices that I've made, it's not easy. But 1 hour sleep. And that was almost every day. The most I would get 3.
That's too much.
Yep, 3. But I wanted it so badly. I wanted it so badly. And I was fighting for myself. Now it was no longer for this coach. It was for nobody. It's for me.
And now look at you.
And now look at me. Amen. So do you have any final tips you want to share with the audience about embracing your authenticity, especially not even just in business, but how about in life, like in everyday life?
It's hard sometimes to get your mom's voice out of your head.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that you need to start standing up for yourself.
Yeah.
To that voice in your head. Even if your mom never actually said this stuff, that you hear her voice. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Sometimes your mom's in there and she actually would never say that stuff to you, that you're just being mean to yourself. Stop being mean to yourself. Treat yourself more like a friend. Would you ever say that stuff to your friend? No, you wouldn't. Well, you might.
Mm. That's true. You know, with me, it wasn't like so much my mother. My mother was always my biggest cheerleader. It was really getting the voices of my family.
Yeah.
Like my external family, getting their voices out of my head and what they thought about me. Because every time we hanged out, oh, you're still in the fashion? Yes.
Yeah.
I'm still in the fashion.
Yeah. What's God saying?
You know, what is God saying? And, you know, I remember when I first moved down and, you know, I was doing some job hunting and I told them, you know, Nordstrom is planning to hire me as a stylist. Oh, they got excited. You're going to have to give me a discount. Nordstrom. And then God is up in heaven laughing. Like I can imagine he's just like rolling back laughing. And he's like, nope, Nordstrom. I got the interview. But God gave me a job next to Nordstrom. He's like, that's not the place where I want you to work because there's going to be a whole lot of competition. And so when I told them the other job that I was getting, they were like, what's that? And I always felt like I always have to put on a good impression because I'm like, my mom's family, man, they're... My goodness. But I always felt like I had to put on an impression for these individuals. But God has brought it to my attention. He's like, who are you trying to prove to? You see what I'm saying? Everybody that has ever looked down upon you or doubted your capability, they will live to see you. And one of my relatives came and told me that they're so proud of me. Fast forward, they're so proud of me and the work that I'm doing, and it's inspiring to them. I'm like, well, look at that. But I took my eyes off of them and everybody else and fixed my eyes on God and the vision. And I'm so much more at peace about where I'm going and all the fruits that I've bared. But I have a back-end story. And so I encourage the audience today, Beth and I, we have a back-end story. Don't give up on your dreams. Don't try to do any of these things to please family, please friends, please mom, dad, spouse, whomever. Do this to please God. If God has rested upon your heart to do, go the extra mile. Remain authentic to yourself. To be true to yourself, both in business and life. And most importantly, when it comes onto your style, yes, let your style be something that reflects who you are within, but always make sure that's signaling a positive message. When people see you, because you want to be a role model for little girls, little boys, when people see you, let it be a reflection of God, because he's royalty, and so are you. Here at Divinely Empowered Media, we're all about helping kingdom entrepreneurs take their businesses to the next level. We are in the homes of 100,000 viewers here on CBN. So if you are someone that's ready to bring more exposure to your business, or you want to share an impactful story, we have so many opportunities and resources available for you. Everything from being a guest on our show to being on our podcast. We are now on Apple Podcasts and Spotify, to even being featured on our front cover magazine. We now have our printed and digital editions. So definitely get in touch with us. Head over to our website, www.divinelymempoweredmedia.com, and follow us on social media at Divinely Empowered Media. Until next time, we will see you soon. God bless.